Hi, my name is Jacqueline Purcell and I'm the Division B Governor, and my role today is to give you some top tips in how to be the best Sergeant at Arms that you can possibly be. Here's what you need to do. You need to greet guests when they arrive. You need to make sure that the room is in good order, and there's quite a lot that you need to do in order to be an effective host. And what this means is that you have to have some strategies in place, and I'm going to outline some of those that I've found over the years have worked extremely well. How about this? Get guests to come to a meeting earlier than anyone else, and this means in an unhurried fashion you can capture their information in the visitor's book, you can chat to them, find out why they've come to a public speaking club, and furthermore you can get them to help out, to put chairs out, to put leaflets on each chair, to help you with the banner. And while you're doing that, you can have informal conversation with them that makes them feel a part of the club before everyone arrives and it becomes chaotic. The other thing is to have a couple of books about what we do and how we do it, and that would give them some reading material so that they would be informed well before the meeting starts. Always position yourself at the back. And why I say this is because the Sergeant at Arms has to keep good order, and so latecomers would be disruptive to the meeting. So you should put reserved stickers on the back row and make sure that those are reserved for latecomers and that you quickly and effectively place those latecomers so that they don't cause disruption to the meeting. Study the agenda very carefully, because as Sergeant at Arms, your role is to make sure that you've got sticky stuff, equipment ready, and there might be a lot of demands made of you in accordance with the agenda items, and your role is to make sure that everyone has what they need to do their speeches properly. Your role is to be the host, which also means that temperature control in the room is important, and not only that, are the guests able to take down some notes? Are there adequate pens and paper for them? So make sure that the tiny details are all taken care of, because you are the host and it's your role to make people feel comfortable, and that if they need something they can always ask. Who should start the meeting? This is a very controversial issue. Should it be the President who starts the meeting, or should it be the Sergeant at Arms? Here's my take on it. I think it should be the Sergeant at Arms. I tell you why. Because the Sergeant at Arms has a role in keeping good order, and I don't think that a president should be the one calling everyone to order. It should be the role of Sergeant at Arms. So you should swiftly hit the gavel on the desk and call the meeting to order, and then hand over the gavel to the president. Now, when you do that, you do not greet people, you do not talk, you just simply call the meeting to order and hand over to the president, so that the president presides over an orderly club. If you can tell that a meeting is going to start late, then it's again your role to call a recess. And what do I mean by this? I mean that again you would call attention to the meeting room and you would say this: I'd like to call a recess for 10 minutes. We will convene in exactly 10 minutes. And what this means is that although the meeting is starting late, someone has been cognizant of that and has made formal arrangements to acknowledge that the meeting time has been extended. The added benefit of this is that if you have a general evaluator, he will not be able to mark you down for a late start to the meeting, because you will have observed due protocol in making sure that the recess is called. So important tip there for keeping good order. I would say this as well, that there's lots of room for having fun. It's not all formality and rigid conduct. How about having a funky receptacle for collecting the votes? As you know, we're always collecting votes in a public speaking club, so something like this is a very light-hearted way of collecting up those votes, and it just creates a buzz of excitement. And we've used in the past almost beach type buckets with bright funky designs on them, and people seem to like them very much. If you are a speaker, as the Sergeant at Arms, you're speaking perhaps in delivering one of your manuals, the last thing you can do is count the votes. Now, your role is normally to count the votes, but you would abstain from counting the votes when you are in the vote. because that would be like rigging an election, wouldn't it? So you'd have to be very careful to get someone else to count the votes if you yourself are a speaker. The SAA can also be the bouncer, the person who says, you're misbehaving, you must leave the room, and carefully guides them out, because from time to time you will have an unruly guest who perhaps doesn't understand what's happening, and it's not the president's job to then play the strong arm of the law. It's the sergeant-at-arms role. So you make sure that if there is any disruption, that you quietly and effectively remove the person to a safe corner of the room or outside the room and have a chat to them and bring order into the proceedings. It's also required that you clear up the room after a meeting. And what do I mean by that? All the banners, the spare papers that are lying around, your special equipment, you need to gather all that up and put it into a very safe place so that in time for the next meeting, everything is in good order. So while everyone else takes off after the meeting, the role of Sergeant-at-Arms is to make sure that the order is restored to the last, and that means packing away everything in the right way. So I hope I've given you some top tips there on being a Sergeant-at-Arms. It's my favorite role, and if you are the Sergeant-at-Arms this year, I salute you.